Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody, for being here this morning. Recap the game from last week. Our offensive player of the week was Isaiah Bowser. Obviously, IB had just a spectacular game. A lot of those yards were yards after contact, which you're going to have against Iowa. Thought he played extremely well. Big playmaker was Bennett Skoranek. I still don't know how he made that catch, but he did. And like I told him in the team meeting today, I'm glad he did. It was a huge play in the game. Joe Gaziano was our defensive player of the week. Huge play down the stretch, but had a lot of production. And then Cam Ruiz, I thought, and we thought collectively as a defense, was our big playmaker. Really played well. Young man that has been consistent his whole career is our special teams player of the week, Tyler Gillikin. Again, was 10 for 10 snapping and did a really good job. Sam Stovall was our offensive practice player of the week. Jake Saunders on defense. And Peter Snodgrass was in the kick game. So I guess a long snapper theme there. But those guys do a great job. The guys have done a really good job. We've won 7 straight on the road because of the way that they've prepared. And the way that, IB went out and had 165 yards and the way our offensive line played, I thought gave us a chance to win. And then obviously guys stepping up when their opportunities presented themselves were critically important to the success in the game. So proud of them. And like every week, we go back to work, and the guys did a good job of that today. So with that, how about some questions, please?
You said after the game that your focus is still to go 1-0 each week in these last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
But will you be a little bit more cautious with players who are maybe banged up or sore, could play, but might hold them out a little bit more cautiously than you would otherwise?
Yeah, no, all hands on deck and the pedals down. Absolutely not, no. No, we'll prepare just like we always do. We look at each game with the same process, the mentality of going 1-0 each week. You put the game to bed really officially this morning when I addressed the guys at 9 o'clock, and when we leave at the team meeting, we're officially moved on to the next week and when we go out to practice. So that'll be the same mentality this week and next week.
Hey, Coach, you got off to the rough start this year. Was there a moment that you saw something or something like that made you think this team might be able to turn it around?
Yeah, some seminal moment. Yeah, I just think that, first of all, the guys stayed the course in our preparation. I thought the staff didn't flinch and just stuck together. We had to identify some new pieces to the puzzle or personnel issues that we had that were unforeseen that you couldn't prepare for. We obviously would have liked to have been more consistent in a stretch than we were, but we weren't. And so you just stay the course, and I think the whole program did a really good job of that. And, now we put ourselves in position to have a great finish. So, it's more important the way you finish than the way you start. So hopefully we'll do that.
Fitz, is Bowser doing exactly what he did as a junior and senior in high school, or is he a better back now than he was then, you think?
Well, I think he's a better back because he's doing it against Big Ten competition, right? I mean, and that's not to slight the competition he had at Sydney High School, but it's not the Big Ten. So, yeah, I mean, I would say this. I would say he's taken his game up a notch, and he's just gotten more and more confident with each rep and each game. You could see him kind of turn the corner from a confidence standpoint in the Rutgers game. And, I think that was a big catalyst for his confidence, and he's played really well since.
My sense is Darnell Autry was a little faster, but do you see any parallels between the two? Have you thought about that?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Meaning Darnell being faster, I'm not sure about that. I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. He's tough, though. Man, was DA tough as nails. And, I don't remember DA practicing a lot during the week. So IB is still a young pup. He goes every rep every day, so he doesn't get a choice. That's a mandate from the head coach. So he's got to just keep getting better. And he is. He's working his tail off. But, I think that's a cool angle. But Darnell Autry was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy. This kid started 4 games. No statues yet. DA doesn't even have a statue. He should, but he doesn't. We don't do that around here.
You went back and watched the Skoranek catch to which you alluded. Did you realize when you saw it with the naked eye that it was as good as it was, and where would you rank it?
There have been some spectacular catches. You know, I mean, Kyle Cairo's interception was one of the best catches I've ever seen a couple of years ago. You know, there's so many that you rack your brain about, but that catch was unbelievable. I don't know how he did it. My angle was I was looking right down the sideline, and there was the defender in between him and Bennett, and I couldn't see where the ball went. I saw it go over him, but I couldn't see where the ball went, so I thought it was overthrown because my eyes then went to the officials, and they were looking at each other like they're getting ready to order pizza or something. Like, what do you want? You want sausage? You want pepper? I don't know. They're like, what do you want? And then they went touchdown, and I was like, great. And the officials came to the boundary, and they're like, what do you think? I go, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what they think upstairs. So when they said touchdown, and they said the call's confirmed, you know, obviously then you know he caught it. You know, that a lot of times in those types of plays, it's whatever's called in the field that ends up being the call stands, which I'm great with. I'm fine with. But it was a big-time play. Big-time play.
I was going to make my kids ask this because it's injury related, but is there ever a case where a player is medically cleared, but you still say, nah, we don't want to roll the dice this week?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that happens quite a bit actually. You know, I'd rather be a day late, a week late, a month late than anything early. So yeah, we and then, you know, around here, and it just depends on the age of the player from a standpoint of experience. But you've got to practice to play here. I am a firm believer that you have to practice the sport to be able to perform at a consistent level on Saturday. And it's a week-by-week thing. You can't, well, you know, he didn't practice this week, but he's going to be fine on Saturday. You get rusty in this game in a hurry. But I also reserve the right to exercise 51% of the vote when need be. And if a guy needs an extra day of rest or an extra couple days of rest, you know, I'll definitely make sure we do that. And, you know, our position coaches and myself are in you know, I think we've got a great trusting relationship with our guys, and I'm very transparent with the guys when it comes to that. I might not be transparent with you all, but that's by design. But with the players, I'm very, very transparent, asking them questions about how they feel. Would an extra day help? When in doubt, you know, we'll give them an extra day off or rest them or limit their reps in practice. You know, probably where you guys see it the most is when you come to training camp. You know, like when a guy's you could see a guy may have camp legs or a little beat up because of a physical go the day before. We may rest some veterans. But young guys got to practice. They've got to get better. So we're playing a lot of young guys, so hopefully we'll be able to keep the pedal down.
Even though, say, this Minnesota game does not technically matter in the standings, why is it so important for you to come out with a win?
It matters to us. Every game matters to us. It's a Big Ten West game. You know, we've talked about going with a championship approach now for a number of weeks, mentality-wise, and the way that we prepare and the way that we play. It's an interdivisional game, just like it will be next week. And, you know, when you get into divisional play, the only thing that matters is to win. And champions win football games. And you do that by the way that you prepare, and you do that by the way you execute, and you do that by the way that you play. And, you know, again, we're going to always be pedal down mentality here. I'm never going to take my foot off the gas. We'll rest and recharge, or whatever you want to call it, in January. This is football. This is not NBA basketball or Major League Baseball where, you know, he's just a little bit tired, so we're going to give him a rest. This is college football. And you've got to work your tail off to get better. You got to work your tail off to stay consistent, and you got to work your tail off to win. And this is our last seniors road game in the Big Ten, and it's a big game. You know, it's a big game, and we've got obviously goals ahead of us that we want to achieve. And for us to achieve those goals, we've got to go 1-0 this week, and that's our why. So it'll be very, very similar next week, except instead of being our last road test in the Big Ten, it'll be our last home opportunity with our seniors.
Do you think going in there as division champs gives a team like Minnesota a little extra incentive for this game? And what difference did you see in Minnesota this week compared to some of their previous games?
Well, I think there was a definite difference in the way that they played from a passion standpoint 2 weeks ago compared to last week, and obviously very impressive to watch the way they played against Purdue. I thought their defense was outstanding. I thought they were flying around. They were playing fast. They were playing physical. They made all kinds of plays in the run game, in the pass game, getting pressure on the quarterback. Purdue went 0 for 12 on third downs, I believe the number was. And it's really impressive to see. I think they've got really talented players. I know they're playing quite a few young guys, but so is everybody. That's not unique to anybody now at this point. And they're not young anymore anyways. They've played 10, 11 weeks of football. But just really impressed with how hard they played against a very, very good Purdue football team. And they've been great at home. They're 5-1 at home. So we know we're going to get their best shot. It's their senior day. They're fighting for bowl eligibility. We assume that every week. We assume we're getting everybody's A game. I'm more concerned with us. We've got to continue to get better and improve. And you know, I think based on the way we went to work today, the guys will continue to do that.
You're 4-2 in one-score games this season, and really throughout your tenure here, Northwestern's been one of the best teams in the country at winning close games. What factors go into that?
Well, it drives me crazy that we didn't win the other two, to be quite honest with you. So that'll be something in the postseason that we'll look at. You know, I think, number one, playing a lot of those games, I don't know why. It's not by design, but we just seem to be in a lot of games, and especially when you get into conference and divisional play, you know, everybody knows each other well. And so the teams, I think, have a lot of respect for each other, and the games end up being very, very hard fought. Very rarely will you see a 3 or 4 score game in this league, at least, when you're talking about maybe the teams that are close to being bowl eligible or above, because the margin for error is so slim. You typically fail in those games when you make a critical mistake down the stretch. And you know, I know in the 2 games that we lost, the 1-score games, we made plenty of mistakes and beat ourselves. So, but the credit goes to our players and our staff. I don't think we don't get over emotional or overreact. We just keep coaching, keep playing.
You have guys like Roger Campbell and Alonzo Mayo, who are veterans in this program but haven't played as much this year, step in down the stretch and make big plays. What do you think goes into that mentality to be able to come into a game like that, even though they haven't played much this year?
Yeah, Zoe's a veteran. You know, Rod, you know, obviously played a little bit as a freshman and had a hurt shirt last year. So, you know, he's a little bit more of a young pup and from an experience standpoint. But we talk about next man up mentality all the time. I mean, this isn't something that's new to this team this year or this week, last Saturday at Kinnick. That's things we talk about in the offseason, understanding the only thing you can control is the way that you prepare. And whether you like your role right now or not, do something about it. If you've got the role you want, you got to keep getting better. And if we've got the right competition, hopefully guys are breathing down that starter's neck to get on the field. And then the guys that are chasing a starting role to have just a mentality that they've just got to go out and improve and get better every single day and just keep improving, that improvement mentality that it takes. And then if you do that, then when opportunity presents itself, you'll be prepared. And then the expectation is if you step out on the field, you're expected to go out there and win. You're not going out there to just fill a position. Our expectation, our standard is you go out to compete to win. And that's a mentality that I've talked about for years. We've preached for years as a staff, and our guys embody and embrace. But I'm really proud of Zoe, you know, an older guy that, you know, has had maybe a little bit of a limited role right now, and we needed him to step up. And I know the one route didn't go well. He kind of sat on the post route a little bit, and you know, maybe a little rush shaken off there. But then he played great the rest of the game, and you know, he'll prepare very well. He's prepared very well all year. He's been terrific on the scout field, and I'm very, very proud of the way that you know, he's working right now at the tail end of his career.
If a guy like Hardesty is not on the 2 deep, does that mean he's not going to play Saturday, or that means you just don't have to answer questions about him?
No, I mean, he's not on the 2 deep, so he's out.
So do you think that does mean he's out Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Okay. Is Mayo an easy decision there as a guy who's going to be your starting cornerback? Do you feel like you have a lot of options there or not so many?
Yeah, no, I think we've got plenty. And, you know, again, we'll exercise all means necessary. You know, we'll prepare a lot of guys to fill all those roles, you know, here as we go to the end of the season. So, I mean, that's again, part of the deal. It's Big Ten football, man. It's a physical deal, and things happen, and guys got to step up.
I have to ask, is there a hope that Hardesty will return this season?
Yeah. Oh,
okay. Okay. Did you sense with your players at all that you need to work on them mentally, that they're at all satisfied from their accomplishment of winning the West, or do you think there's immediate buy-in to this idea of like you must win Saturday and put the pedal down?
Yeah, no, I mean, we don't change a whole lot around here. Some might be boring a little bit to people, but that's how you're consistent typically, is that you take an approach and a mentality and a mindset and a process. So that way when you get a little bit off track, you know how to get back. Or when you have success, to stay humble. And, when I just met with the Leadership Council, I said, where do you guys want me to go this week? I'm kind of telling you what they told me. So, no, I don't sense I have a whole lot of selling to do. That's what they told me they wanted to do.
You guys have won 7 straight on the road now in the conference. What do you attribute that to? Is there
Well, I think we have a system that we go through on the road that our guys, I think, understand. We're a pretty focused group, but we're not overly serious. I don't know if I'm saying it the right way, but we trust in our process to get ready. So when we travel first class, but we're traveling on a business trip to go win a game. And, we don't deviate a whole lot from what we do and how we do it. This week on the road, next week at home, going down to Indy, we'll treat just like this week. You know what I mean? We go to the bowl game, I just go to that plan and we pull it out and, we double check, make sure that's everything we want to do as a staff. I present it to the Leadership Council. They sign off on it. That's the direction that we go. So, we just trust in that plan. And then, especially this year with some of the road challenges that we've had, none better than the one we had on Saturday at Kinnick. I mean, that was just an awesome environment for college football. And I thought our guys handled it really, really well. And that was a heck of a football game. But we'll be prepared for the same thing. I mean, tomorrow, we'll go to our Tuesday plan like we always do. So,
can you provide any more clarity on your kicking situation? How do you evaluate the job Jake did, given all that he had on his plate Saturday?
I thought Jake was awesome. Those 4 punts that we pinned him inside the 20 were critically important for the field position battle. You watch, I saw the game in 60 last night, Sparty against the Buckeyes, and to see the way that field position battle. I mean, it's November football in the Big Ten, right? You got to be able to run the ball, stop the run. You got to be able to take care of the football. You got to be able to find a way to make some explosion plays and limit those, and you got to win the field position battle in the kicking game because it's not going to be 72 degrees and sunny. So, that hasn't changed since, Arrow was on the sideline. So you just gotta keep again pressing and preaching to the guys about the consistency that we got to go about it. But Jake was great. He had to fill in some roles. We knew that last week going into it, so it wasn't like he was surprised on game day like we were a couple weeks ago. But those 2 other guys are really close to being ready to go, and we'll see how the week progresses. But they're doing everything that they can to get themselves back in the field.
Fitz, is this one of your better groups of receivers? It seems like you have a real diversity of different types, and they catch the ball.
Yeah, Chris Bowers and Dennis Springer have done a really good job. I think recruiting, we've identified some areas that we really feel like we've needed to improve in. Receiver was one of them. We didn't feel like we had enough competitive depth in that room. And, we're playing a pretty vast mixture of guys from, older veterans to, I think, some really young, explosive guys that are just going to continue to get better and better and better. I'm really, really pleased with the development of that group. Now, I say that we've got a big challenge this week, from a standpoint that we've only got one. They didn't change that much, but we've got 1 week of empirical data on their D coordinator, so it'll be a challenge. It'll be for the whole offense. They didn't change a whole lot schematically. They made some changes, and like everybody does week to week, but they definitely played with a relentless nature to the game on Saturday against Purdue, and we'll expect to see the same thing on Saturday.
You said Montre was out. Jared McGee, Trey Williams also not on the depth chart. Do you anticipate a similar situation with them?
You see a theme.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Out and out.
And do you expect those two to be back this season?
Hope so, yeah.
Last 4 games, Clayton's only completed 53% of his passes, fewer than 5 yards per attempt. Is there anything going on with that, or is it just game plan and tough defenses?
Yeah, stats are for losers. We won, right? Almost all of them? 3 out of 4, 4 to 5? That's the only stat I care about.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thank you all. Go Cats, thanks.